Hey, what's going on, good people? Today we're going to talk about the No Surprise Act. I know you out there worried if you're in private practice. Hey, what's going on, good people? It's your boy James Harris, founder of a movement called Mental Heal, which focuses on men's overall wellness, our mental health, physical health, of course, our emotional health. And I'm also the author of a book called Man Just Express Yourself, which is an interactive planning guide for boys and men to better express themselves. I definitely appreciate all my parents who went out and got that too, all my clinicians who got this in their lobbies or doing these interventions in session. Definitely appreciate it. Salute to all the spouses out there also who, are doing these interventions into from the book with your significant other of a date night and dinner and things. Definitely appreciate it. And if you want to get that book, make sure you hit Barnes and Nobles, Target, Walmart, Amazon, pretty much anywhere books are sold, including my website, www.mentoheal.com. Definitely appreciate you. Also on my website, you can get my new board game, which is called Cheesy Dates, which is a good interactive tool regardless of where you are within your relationship spectrum. You can do this with your platonic friends, so girls' nights, boys' nights, adult game nights, and of course you can do it with your couple, your partner, as a date night activity. It's good, man. It has two different card decks. It got pawn pieces where you move around the board. Just get it, check it out. Good tool. It'll help you with your communication. It'll help you with those spontaneous date ideas. So definitely hit the website and get that as well. And if you're new here, make sure you like, share, subscribe. I definitely appreciate you for checking me out. I don't take it for lightly. I definitely appreciate the growth of the channel and the people who are reaching out, whether it's inbox, emails, or questions. Definitely appreciate it. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe. If you've been here for a while, definitely appreciate you. Help me get monetized within that threshold. So we're going to continue to educate and, collaborate with different people. So when it comes to this No Surprise Act, I know a lot of my fellow clinicians, got the word. It was a surprise to them, but actually, the No Surprise Act was signed December, like around the 27th of 2020. It was the last administration implemented this before they rolled out. So the No Surprise Act is pretty much a consolidation act that it was reviewed in 21, and then, of course, this current administration had to sign off and agree upon it, but it was already rectified and identified within the last administration. The No Surprise Act addresses surprises within medical billing from the federal level. So a lot of these things are coming down to us, of course, locally because we have to enforce them. So effective January 1st, which is why most of you are surprised, 2022 this year, it is now, implemented. So the Department of Health and Human Services, the Treasury and Labor Departments all asked the issuing regulation and guidance to implement these different provisions. So the different provisions, of course, the healthcare system strongly supports protecting patient rights, clients' right, and so you can't surprise them with specific medical bills or medical services that you've already rendered if they understood it to be something else. So Congress definitely rejected an approach that would impose arbitrary rates on different providers, which would have significant consequences far beyond the scope of surprise medical bills that impact the access of healthcare overall. So they want to ensure that it's target practice known as balance building, where a provider that is not in a network with a specific client insurance plan would charge the client a different rate between the providers who pay out of pocket, whether that's cash pay, self pay, or different payment plans from the insurance companies. So providers normally charge, let's just say you charge $200 for your session or $150 or whatever the case is for a service with the client, and they pay, out of the healthcare network, which is 50% of that. So that $200, the insurance company pays $100. Now this client is on the hook for that last $100, the remaining balance of that. Um, so that remaining 100 is from the client. Insurance benefits are often hard to understand, and the client may not have known that they owed you that $100. So of course, over time, interest, you probably send it to your lawyer. They probably do what they got to do to obtain those funds and things like that. The No Surprise Act also requires notice to consent form that the client receive these services from an out-of-network provider at the time of the in-network facility taking place. So the rules with that is there must be like you have to identify these services. You have to make it plain and simple to where your client understands that they owe you this $100 because the insurance company is covering that other $100 or whatever your fees are. I'm just using round numbers to make it easier with you. So there are many new rules to follow when it comes to billing a client like out of service networks. Among these new rules, it is also the opportunity for a client to appeal medical bills if they feel that the rules were not followed. So if they feel that you didn't diagnose them properly or didn't issue a specific medication, it's a gray area there to what a client can say as far as their appealment, but of course that's in there as well. I think that's more of a CYA thing of the Congress people who are issuing this. If a bill is significantly larger than what the client was led to expect, they can appeal to a third party that will work with them and you to determine what is the final cost. So if they say, I thought it was just $100, my insurance took care of that, I wasn't aware I had a copay, wasn't aware that I had a balance, then of course, hopefully you too can resolve that and you say, hey, no, this is what you signed for, it's in my informed consent, we talked about this or whatever the case is, and they say, all right, cool, fine, I'll pay it. But if they say, no, I'm getting a lawyer or taking mediation actions or whatever the case is, then of course you three can do that as well. So the third party, which is a lawyer, a mediator, or whomever, can have say in what you guys decide if you can't come to an agreement between each other. It's easier to just comply with the No Surprise Act. I guess you have to now, being it is mandatory. It's definitely a law. So to help the clients in that situation, just make sure you post a notice of the protections against the surprise bill in your office. So throw it up on the wall. Make sure it's on your website if it's if that's the service that you provide. I know a lot of clinicians have the insurances that they take on the website. Put that on there too. Hey, No Surprise Act. The type of sessions, the price of the sessions. I know you probably don't want to, but I think at the end of the day, it will help you if you did do that. Or say something like see or email for prices or call for prices. So when you do that 15-minute free session, that consultation session, that might be benefiting for you to remind them or say that. And of course, make sure you put it in your intake packet as well. That's definitely a good place for you to put it, so it's no surprises. Make them sign it or initial. You can also use the different sections from the Health and Human Services website. They got it already outlined, so just make sure you edit it to meet your specific practice criteria, whether that's your specific insurances, your specific services that you provide and everything. So that's the Health and Human Services website. It's already done. Just pretty much edit it to fit you and your practice or your group practice or whatever the case is. You may also need to put the information in there about the good faith estimate, which I'm going to talk about shortly. The good faith estimate, in some circumstances, you can use different resources from the CMS, which is the Center for Medicaid and Medicare Services. They got an outline on there as well. So definitely make sure that utilizing the resources that are already there if you're not familiar with this. Being that it just went into effect in January 1st, 2022. So I took a brief class just to make sure that I was up to date on it, just to make sure, I can share it with you as well as different people in my network that I oftentimes consult with or associate with. I just want to make sure everything is good because it's hard out here. You're trying to run a practice with less headaches as possible, then you get taught something new that you got to implement, which is not a huge thing. It's just the easiest way is just try to be in compliance as much as you can. So about the different insurances, of course, ask the client if they have insurance. A lot of times this includes definitely personal insurance, whether it's from the employer or plan that they bought through the healthcare system. ACH, as well as state or federal insurance programs like Medicare, Medicaid, TRICARE, CHIP program. All of those things are definitely important, but you definitely want to ensure that you ask that question. Also, be sure that the client intends to submit the claim to the insurance company. They have not opted out of using the insurance benefits available, so that's important as well. So I know a lot of other clinicians, they do the personal follow up with the insurance companies, on the client behalf. So it's up to you if you want to do that, or if you want to trust your client to do that, for themselves. So depends on where your client is, I guess, cognitively, or what they've been serviced for. They can definitely do that. But if it's a client that that you might want to do this to protect yourself and to protect them, they might not be there for that part of the advocacy, or they just might not be in a position to take on the task of calling insurance companies. Now, for your clients who are uninsured or who don't intend to use insurance, they'd much rather self-pay, it's probably cheaper or whatever. Um, some things to consider is if the client does not have insurance or using insurance in the network benefits, you definitely have to tell them about what I mentioned earlier, which is the good faith estimate. There are no specific requirements pertaining to the good faith estimate. You will need to provide this estimate of the client's costs, such as the time, the scheduling of services in advance to what you're providing. So that's definitely important. Again, that's time, cost, and the services in which you're providing. There is no difference between existing clients and this new client that you may get. You're about to be flooded with clients because you got awesome practice. So regardless of how many clients you're servicing now, make sure you go back and tell them. And these upcoming clients that you're about to get, just make sure you have that good faith estimate if they're out of pocket. There's no difference, again, between now and these upcoming clients. All clients using network insurance benefits must given the good faith estimate. So information to dispute a claim, and of course what I mentioned earlier, the time, type of services, and things like that. The good faith estimate in itself is, I guess, a part of the reason why a lot of people are surprised. But the good faith estimate, you definitely want to ensure that you include the ongoing services up for like a 12-month period. So as long as you estimate the number of services needed during that period, you should be good. But that's the difficult part of it, because somebody might want weekly, somebody might want bi-weekly, somebody might want every other month. So just do your best. I would suggest doing the most extreme possibility first. So I would do my estimate based on the weekly services. So that way the client is getting an estimate for the most extreme. So that way next quarter or 2 to 3 months now, when services change, this client, bill will be less realistically, because you did a good faith estimate based on weekly sessions. For example, if you see somebody weekly, your estimate may let's say 50 sessions within that 12-month period, because of course you got 2 weeks off for vacations if you do that. So that's 50 sessions that your estimate would choose for. But like I said, that's 50 weeks. But if you say, hey, you've been coming here for 3 months now, I think we can go to bi-weekly, or I think you just need monthly services. In their mind, like, okay, cool. So, but the good faith estimate, it's based on those weeks that you did. So now that surprise, it wouldn't be a surprise really, because that bill would be less during that period of time. But for you, in documentation purposes, I would just do it with the most extreme. You can also include multiple service in one estimate. So you can conduct a document for the treatment episodes without having to fill out different separate forms or intake forms or different sessions and services. So you can put, so if your assessment fee is different, your intake session is free, your consultant session is free, your off hours, like if you go into court, like add those in there too, just so, again, no surprise of the billing. So that's pretty much it in the summer. If you got any other questions, just make sure you send them to me or email me, or write them down here, because another clinician might see it and might be able to answer it, or might, can provide insight on what they're doing. But pace yourself. Make sure you're breathing. It's a lot of information out there to comprehend, so make sure you find in different podcasts, different YouTube channels, or different people within your network to bounce these ideas off, or see what they're doing, or see, what information that they found. If you have an online note platform like Therapy Notes or Simple Practice, they may have a blog session that talks about this. So definitely go there and see if they offer something. You can also read the APA service blog, because they break down a lot of different stuff. They want to ensure that they're on top of different things. So yeah, just focus on that. And again, I mentioned earlier the CMS. So the Center for Medicaid Medicare Services. Go to our website as well. They probably got a nice little breakdown on there of the No Surprise Act and how it can help. Be sure to share this video with your fellow clinicians, the people in your office, the people in your groups, all those things, because I just broke it down simply, and somebody else might need that simple breakdown so they're not focusing on all these hundreds of documents. They can just get the specific criteria and what they need. So the good faith estimate outlined everything, whether they were in your services already or the upcoming services. Identify if they have insurance, if they don't intend to use that insurance. All of those things are important. So appreciate you. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Check me out. Send me a message. I'll catch you on the next one.